Match week 20 in MLS Next Pro picks up north of the border in the 416 of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Toronto FC fighting for a playoff spot in the East welcomes FC Cincinnati 2 for their second meeting of 2026. Welcome inside York Lions Stadium along with our broadcast team. Jake Griffith, a pleasure to have you alongside us. The Steve Miller Band told us that time keeps on slipping, and that's true in MLS Next Pro. 20 match weeks. Just 10 remaining before we reach decision day. And Toronto FC, despite 5 straight losses, they are just 6 points out of a playoff spot, and they're showing fight. Back-to-back matches decided by just 1 goal. As for FC Cincinnati 2, it's been a tough year in the first year of the Sammy Castellanos era. 15th position right now in the Eastern Conference table. But they're showing real growth over these last few match weeks. They've taken 5 of their last 9 points, including 2 match weeks ago, grabbing 2 points off defending champions Red Bull New York 2. They also got a win 5-0 earlier this year against Toronto FC. A chance to take a look at how these sides line up. First for Toronto FC 2 and manager Gianni Cimini going with a 4-4-2. It's 2 personnel changes in this 4-4-2 shape. Anthony Bossenberry joins for his 9th start of the season, but it's also a shape change from the last time Toronto FC came out against Connecticut United. That match out in a 3-5-2. Today, it's the back 4, and this Toronto FC coaching staff, they're looking for a little bit more stability, a little bit more consistent. You talk to Gianni Cimini, not like they gave up some cheap goals against Connecticut United. So looking to right the ship in that regard, but also looking to be able to use the transitional element in this 4-4-2. That will be so crucial. And go up to the first team level for Toronto FC and manager Robin Fraser. They do like that direct play. And against this FC Cincinnati 2 side, rather, they might have an opportunity tonight to get some direct balls in behind. The Garys have shown some ability to see goal in that regard. As for FC Cincinnati 2, and manager Sammy Castellanos, they go in a 4-3-3. Much like their opposition tonight, it's also a shape change compared to what they came out in against Orlando City B in that loss last match week. That match, a 4-4-1-1 today. It's the more traditional 4-3-3. They'll have a single pivot in the middle as Jimenez will rejoin the starting 11 for the first time this season. It's his first appearance in MLS Next Pro action since their playoff loss against Philadelphia Union a season ago. For Castellanos and company, they want to take advantage of these wide areas. It is something that being able to create those attacking width overloads will be crucial today. The 2 wingers holding the width of the pitch in this 4-3-3 shape will be crucial to FC Cincinnati's success here north of the border. Toronto FC, it is their longest unbeaten stretch, rather longest winless stretch of play, going all the way back to their debut campaign in MLS Next Pro. But you talk to Gianni Cimini, and he says that you look back to the Atlanta United 2 match, they made improvements in terms of the scoreline. You go back to last match, they made improvements on both the scoreline and in the offensive department by grabbing 2 goals. They showed some fight in that contest, went down 1-0, battled back to level, went down 2-1, battled back to level, gave up a late goal, and Cimini and company are just trying to put a full 90 minutes of play together. It's been a season of change for Toronto FC too, and they are without the services of players like a Richard Chukwu, like a Fletcher Bank, like a Jackson Gilman, who got the start last night for Toronto FC in their 0-0 draw against CF Montreal in the derby to resume MLS play following the World Cup break. And Cimini's talked at length about players moving in and out of this second team environment. They're just trying to establish an identity for themselves and figure out who they are down the stretch of the season. As for FC Cincinnati 2, yes, they do come off the loss against Orlando City B, but as mentioned at the top of this broadcast, a win against Inter Miami, a draw with a shootout win against Red Bull New York 2 matches ago. Castellanos spoke at length earlier this week about liking the direction this team is trending. They're going to try to use speed of play to their advantage, to get in behind, establish themselves early on the first 10-15 minutes, regardless of what team they're taking on. Those first 10-15 minutes have been a consistent theme anytime you talk to Castellanos ahead of a match. They want to come out of the gates fast. They want to assert themselves. They want to dictate the tempo of this contest. Last time these teams faced each other, it was a slow, plodding first 45 minutes before a 5-goal outburst in the second half for FC Cincinnati 2. Saman Sultani is our center referee. It's Toronto in the all-red, FC Cincinnati 2 in the all-white. All sides ready to go for this match week 20 fixture. Waiting the opening whistle from our man in charge. And there it is. FC Cincinnati 2 will thump this all the way back down. That ball is rolling here at York Lions Stadium, and we are officially underway on this standalone fixture here on this Friday night in Toronto. To nod that one forward are the Garys of FC Cincinnati 2, seeking their first road win of 2026. You'd have to go all the way back to decision day of 2025 when they picked up a 4-1 win on the road against Orlando City B to punch their ticket to the postseason. The last time FC Cincinnati 2 have won a road fixture. One of just 5 teams in MLS Next Pro, 3 in the Eastern Conference, seeking their first road win. Here's Toronto FC trying to work it over to Raquan Campbell-Dennis. Jumping in front of it, though, are the Garys. And this is Christian Fletcher. Fletcher stepping inside on one defender, squares this in front. It's knocked out of play. It'll stay here for a corner to FC Cincinnati 2. A little over 60 seconds out of the gates, and FC Cincinnati 2 picking up their first set piece of the contest. 2 corner goals this season for Sammy Castellanos' side. Lofted into the mixer, back post over the head of everyone and falling all the way through, which will give way to a Zachariah Nuckley goal clearance. 13th start of the season for the native of Quebec. Had a 3-save performance last match against Connecticut United. He will go long in this distribution. And it's Toronto FC, their first spell of possession, a short-lived spell. And FC Cincinnati 2 will reset and build out from the back. Of the 3 personnel changes that Sammy Castellanos makes today, Adamar Chavez getting the start. 11th start of the season for the FC Cincinnati homegrown. Here's Fletcher, former Loudoun United man, DC United man. Loudoun United in USL Championship, DC United, the MLS side. They try to roll this one up ahead, looking for Kodri. Part of that 2-striker approach today for Gianni Cimini, and instead, Fabian Morozic, in his 9th start of MLS Next Pro play, rolls it forward. Cincinnati, the loss narrowly at the hands of Orlando City B. Sammy Castellanos was pretty frank earlier in the week as they switch the point of the attack out of the reach, though, of anyone for FC Cincinnati. And it will be a Toronto FC throw-in. It was a 2-1 loss at the hands of Orlando City B, who are in 3rd position in the Eastern Conference table. Castellanos was pretty frank this week. He said, I was a little disappointed, to be honest. Felt like they had a really strong week of training leading up to the match, but didn't feel like they came out with the punch that he's looking for. They went down a goal early, praised the team for their grit and determination to be able to pull level in that contest. But then a couple of mistakes allowing Orlando City B to get in toward goal quickly. Direct ball ahead via keeper distribution, and they grab a late goal. Transitioning into the attack, the counter is quickly on. Rolled forward here, looking for Daver Mosquera, who fumbled around with it. Dawson got a touch off on it, able to work it over to Kodri, who wins a throw in. Lucas Dawson has been the point of some positive discussions from Gianni Cimini and this Toronto FC coaching staff. Go back a couple matches ago, their 1-0 loss at the hands of Atlanta United as it steered back over toward Fabian Morozic. Cimini called him a standout player in that loss, and earlier this week he said that his ability to adapt to the level being 15 years old, playing in a lot of cases, like the Connecticut United match, against really physical and experienced guys. He's been very proud of the effort that Lucas Dawson has shown. 87 in red in the center of your screen, as Bossenberry will win a throw-in for Toronto FC 2. Bossenberry, one of 3 players called to the Canadian U20 national team earlier today for the 2026 CONCACAF U20 Championships. FC Cincinnati, Felix Sampson, their captain, also called to that team, which will be coached by Jesse Marsh for that window. Begins July 24th, runs through August 9th in Mexico. Richard Chukwu and Tim Fortier also part of that trifecta of young Reds called to the Canadian U20 side. Here is FC Cincinnati and David Mosquera working on the outside. Mosquera going inline, touch toward goal, and Knuckley will corral that ball in and roll it back out. Long ball forward. Morozic will come away from his home in net and tap that out of play, giving way to a TFC2 throw. To Raekwon Campbell-Dennis now. Campbell-Dennis doesn't like his options. He'll peel this one all the way back over to Reed Fisher, 23rd overall pick in the Super Draft a season ago. Toronto FC retreating a bit. Knuckley looking to take some heat off. Knotted down by Kodri. And here are the young Reds moving in packs now. Rolled through, trying to find Jamari Nolan. The offside flag came up anyway, and FC Cincinnati 2 will come away unscathed. We've already seen it on display early on in these first almost 7 minutes, but FC Cincinnati 2, a real key to the match today will be whether or not they can use their diagonal passes, those switches of play, to inch themselves in behind this compact shape of Toronto FC. They are on the move. Lead ball ahead, takes an awkward deflection. Knuckley trying to tap that back in on the inline and successfully does. David Mosquera right on his hip pocket. That aforementioned loss on the road for Toronto FC2 against Connecticut United. A frustrating affair. They'll thump this in behind as Kodri will run onto the other end of it now. Kodri working on that outside. Late arriving run. Slid back centrally now. Worked over Campbell-Dennis. Campbell-Dennis tries to stand up across. It's deflected out of play. It'll stay here, but that Connecticut United loss on the road. A frustrating evening if you're Toronto FC. You go down in the 41st minute. Have some good shots on target in that contest. And as mentioned earlier at the top of our broadcast, coming back from deficits of 1-0 and 2-1, including getting a set-piece goal, but just couldn't hang on. Ended up conceding the winner in the 83rd minute to the Coy Wolves of CT United. Here's Fisher stuck in. Toronto FC's manager, as FC Cincinnati will cycle this back to their netminder, Gianni Cimini, he said after that match that they just give up goals in frustrating ways, conceding goals in poor fashion. And he said that if you take away the goals conceded against Connecticut United, it was a pretty solid performance, especially with a roster that's been affected by injuries, players moving in and out of the first team. These last few weeks, they've kind of had to slapdash together a roster filled with young players that don't have a ton of experience in MLS Next Pro under their belts. Moving forward with it now is Toronto FC. This is Lucas Dawson. Stojadinovic. Back out wide. They funnel it over. Campbell-Dennis. Campbell-Dennis flashed across goal, headed away. And now nodded further clear by FC Cincinnati 2. Chirilla looking to turn this upfield over to Mosquera and does dispossess, though. Well-timed sliding challenge from the defender. And Mosquera worse for wear there. In fact, that is Christian Fletcher, the 20-year-old. Spent some time on loan with Swansea City and Nottingham Forest over in England. Look at it again. Right there in the center of your screen, you see the defender stretching that left foot out, able to make full contact with the ball, but it was after that the awkward collision as both players tumbled to the ground. And that is what had Christian Fletcher a bit worse for wear. It will be a throw for FC Cincinnati 2. Toss ahead from Gasson, promptly won back by Toronto FC 2. Looking for the combination, able to spring Dawson free. Lucas Dawson, options around. Dawson is in and scores! The youngest player to appear in a match in Toronto FC2 history grabs goal number 1 on the year, and the Young Reds, a dream start at home, 1-0. Acres of space for Lucas Dawson, running in behind unopposed and picking out the far corner. It's the interchange that freed him up. A good ball played forward by Jamari Nolan, and Dawson doing the rest.
Goal scored in the 11th minute by number 87, Lucas Dawson.
A flying start for Gianni Cimini's side at home. Trying to string together some positive performances. Showed some real prolific nature on the offensive side of the ball against CT United last time out. And now they grab an early goal less than 12 minutes in. The second consecutive match now for FC Cincinnati 2. They've gone down a goal inside 20 minutes. Lifted up ahead, late arriving run, tapped in front. Overrunning the ball are the Garys, and a chance here for Dawson, who picks the pieces up to move this one forward. The goal scorer in the 11th minute, Lucas Dawson, had 2 assists last match against CT United. It's turned over, the counter is on. Orejorena. To double back, Stojadinovic hands it off over to Fisher. The work beginning, though, for the Young Reds. Pinned back deep at the moment. Nice ball. The hold-up play for Toronto FC has been crucial so far early on. Bostonberry out wide, gives it up to Kodri. A sidestep one defender, able to win a corner, though, for Toronto FC. Set pieces at times have been important for Gianni Cimini's side. They do have just 1 corner goal so far in 2026. 5 total set piece goals on the year. Looking, though, to perhaps double their advantage just minutes after going up a goal. Driven in swinging ball, catching the head of Reed Fisher. And Morozic will climb the ladder to make the grab. On Toronto FC, they are asserting themselves in that midfield space. Both these teams, they value that middle third of the pitch so much. It's one of those matches that whoever ends up having the superiority there very likely could come out with all 3 points. Worked across the top of the area. Mosquera will run it down out the other side. Orejorena Give it back to him. FC Cincinnati 2 losing some ground at the moment as Fletcher will cycle this ball around. Out wide now with it. FC Cincinnati 2 looking for options. Trying to pick out Orejuela. Pass not on point though. And one back by Dawson. Boys, he had a great start to this contest. Driven up ahead. Here's Kodry. Leaves the defender in his dust. Looking for the early ball in. Knocked away. Lachikar will come up with it for the Garys. On the turn. Here is Chirilla. Progressing nicely into the attacking half. Support and Chavez to his right. Instead, centrally, Orejuela has a hit from distance, and it goes sailing high. This portion of the match is brought to you by BMO, proud sponsor and fan of Toronto FC 2. Restarted off the goal clearance from Zakaria Knuckley, and quickly in business is Jamari Nolan. Nolan taking on two defenders, now a third, and it is one back by FC Cincinnati 2. Lofted up ahead. Chirilla trying to run this down at the end line. Is able to do so and sets FC Cincinnati 2 up with their second corner of the match. Their first came less than 90 seconds into the contest. We are seeing early on, though, some of those characteristics and traits that trickle down from the first team environment for Sammy Castellanos' side. FC Cincinnati, at least at that MLS level, they try to get those vertical transitions going. We've seen some verticality on display early on. They go the short route on this set piece. Lifted back inside, catching it is Bonneau. And now driving that one clear, falling out on this near touch line. It'll be a throw for FC Cincinnati 2. Young Reds have the lead, courtesy of the 11th minute goal from Lucas Dawson, but it's been FC Cincinnati 2 asking a little bit more of the questions so far. They already have 6 touches inside the Toronto FC penalty area. Changing the point of the attack again. They feed Mosquera on the left. The layoff underneath. Looking for the give and go. Back to Mosquera. They find him. And Mosquera able to win another corner for FC Cincinnati 2. Their second in less than 2 minutes. Third of the evening. Orejuela will take this from the near corner flag. Orejuela rolls it back into play. Here's Chavez, cycled over. Fletcher flicks this on into the midst of Zakaria Knuckley, who makes the grab. Knuckley moving quickly with it now. Morozic will tap it away from danger. Nonetheless, Toronto FC will win it back. It has been a big week for this Toronto FC organization, not just having 3 players called up to the Canadian U20 side, but also the announcement earlier this week in conjunction with the City of Barrie, Ontario, and MLS Next Pro that in 2028, Toronto FC 2 will relocate to Barrie. They will rebrand as well. Goal being to build a 3,500-seat stadium in the community, create a real intimate atmosphere. Johnny Cimini, he did have a chance to talk about that earlier this week, and he did liken it a little bit to the Nashville-Huntsville model. And he said that that model works very well. He said he feels like going and playing in Huntsville is such a good place to play. You get a good crowd, you get a good environment for the players to develop in. From that standpoint, it's really good. And he called Barry a perfect location. Far enough, but not too far away. Gives it that different community feel. That model is regarded as some of the future of MLS Next Pro. It was earlier this season that MLS Next Pro partnering with KKR Sports. The goal is to start looking for venues in different municipalities to move MLS Next Pro teams in, build soccer-specific stadiums, rebrand them, give them their own feel while still existing in the organizational structure of an MLS side. It'll be a throw-in here for FC Cincinnati 2. Tossed over the head of Leo Orejuela, but one back here and played through. Chavez wants to put it in front, and Knuckley, hugging that far post, sees it in all the way. Work back down though to Fletcher. Fletcher trying to roll it ahead. Knuckley quick off his line, will lay on it. Christian Fletcher making his third start in as many appearances in MLS Next Pro play. He was acquired by FC Cincinnati in January of 2026. Seeing some spot minutes here with the second team. Progressing nicely is Toronto FC. They have options, and they find one of them in Kodri. To Campbell Dennis. Back to Kodri. It'll be a throw for the Young Reds. Beno back over to Campbell Dennis. Bossenberry has Campbell Dennis, elected not to go to him. Spins away from pressure. Anthony Bossenberry, 10 appearances in MLS Next Pro play, 9 starts, has 2 goal involvements. They'll recycle this ball over to Stefan Kapoor. Out it goes across that far touchline. Toronto FC will have another throw. Fisher retreating back over to Knuckley, and Toronto FC will try to build from the back. That distribution goes errant from Knuckley, and it will be a throw via this change of possession. Getting into those dog days of the summer, the late stretches of the season for all teams in MLS Next Pro, but for Sammy Castellanos in his first season at the helm of this FC Cincinnati 2 side, he feels like it has been a learning season for all of these players. New tactics at the second team level, new manager, new assistant. This ball in behind, flag stays down for the moment, and it will stay down. FC Cincinnati 2 options around. They want the cutback. It's knocked away. Play it goes, and it will be a throw in. This portion of the match is brought to you by LG, proud sponsor and fan of Toronto FC 2. Going back to Castellanos, though, well, it has been a bit of a learning year for all involved. You see Castellanos calling the shots there at the bottom of your screen. He keyed in earlier this week on the last 5 matches, and he said that when you're in a 3-back system at times, that takes a lot of time to learn, but he feels like the players are understanding what's needed of them, as that's lofted back in toward Knuckley, who quells the danger. The amount of running, recovery it takes, and he feels like they're really growing these last few weeks, FC Cincinnati 2, in creating those overloads in the wide areas, getting in 2v1 situations. He's hoping switches of play tonight, which we've seen FC Cincinnati go away from these last few minutes will help them create more of those 2v1s. So far, the defensive compactness of Toronto FC. That ball goes spilling out of play. Noah Gasson was pleading for a whistle, not going to get one. It will be a throw for FC Cincinnati 2. So far, that defensive compactness, though, of Toronto FC holding firm. For Toronto, that is one of those ideologies that you can trace all the way back up to Robin Fraser and Toronto FC. We get a whistle for a foul. That idea of understanding how you defend as a unit and then stepping at the right exact moment, making sure you have numbers so you're not played through. Orejorena, he's been the set piece specialist this season for this FC Cincinnati side. Coming over from North Texas in January of 2026. Spent some time in the Chicago Fire Academy as well. His manager, Sammy Castellanos, very high on him. Called him earlier this year, a guy that's just got that kind of engine you're looking for. He's a great kid, he called him. Orejorena stands this up to resume play, pinballing around. Well defensively by Toronto FC. Now Bostonberry off races and in behind. Anthony Bostonberry makes it 2-0. The Young Reds storming out to a 2-0 advantage here in Tio, thanks to Anthony Bostonberry. This little move here, just to poke it past that final defender who overcommitted. Bostonberry doing the rest. Gianni Cimini said it best after their last result. They've gotten it done on the offensive side of the ball. Looking to play for a full 90 minutes. And at least for these first almost 27 minutes, they've put the complete package together. Goals from Dawson and Bostonberry. Sultani running over to that Toronto FC technical area and having a little word with this Toronto FC side, trying to usher them back on the pitch. Anthony Bostonberry in the 26th minute, his second goal of the season. And what a special story he has become this year for Toronto FC. His play back underway. Go all the way back to the start of the year. I remember talking to Gianni Cimini about Bostonberry at the beginning of the season. He called him an important player, but he's had to battle through a lot of adversity to get back to this point. He had COVID and then had a blood infection that kept him out for 2.5 weeks. They had to build him back up to full fitness at the beginning of the season, but Cimini said from the start of last year to the end of last year, you've just seen the growth on display. Called last year a great first year for him in terms of minutes. Played a lot of time on the pitch as a 16, 17-year-old, and they expect big things for Bostonberry, not just Cimini, but this organization as a whole. It's a Toronto FC side that they're not afraid to work players through the system and move them up into that first-team environment. We've already seen it on display this year. Richard Chukwu signing a hometown deal, or a homegrown deal, rather, on Thursday of this week. Knocked up ahead, in behind. FC Cincinnati looking for options, snugging the end line, the cutback in front. Here's Chavez, rolls it toward goal. And it is driven clear for the moment by Toronto FC. But Chukwu signing that homegrown deal earlier this week. Jackson Gilman earlier this year, back in May, signing a first-team deal. It's a Toronto FC organization that ranks second among all MLS Next Pro teams over the last 5 seasons in advancing players out of the second team onto first-team deals. Clipped up along now. FC Cincinnati 2 will recollect. They'll steer this back over to Morozic via Lachikar. Miscommunication, looking for the switch, but no one there, and it will give Toronto FC a throw as we approach the half-hour mark elapsed. I mentioned a moment ago Richard Chukwu signing that homegrown deal earlier this week. In an interview with Walking the Red, the local publication that covers Toronto FC and Toronto FC 2, first-team manager Robin Fraser, he said that Richard trained a bit with the first team last year and showed signs, but he compared his engagement and intensity to that of a professional at that time. He came in this preseason, spent some time, and Fraser said he grew so much in the 5 or 6 weeks of preseason that Chukwu had. Made a great impression, and in Fraser's words, he was somebody that he knew they needed to keep tabs on. The hard work paying off as play restarted off the foul and the free kick. Here's Campbell Dennis negotiating for space. Bonneau. Bonneau, the captain, will thread it back out wide. Here's Dawson, already has 1 goal today. Dawson cuts to his left. He'll fling this out wide. Not clear yet. Nolan, the first touch, settled. Poked free. Defender got the lines wrong for FC Cincinnati 2. And the pressure not alleviated yet. Falling out of play finally, and FC Cincinnati will take over via the throw-in. Toronto FC right now causing a host of issues for the visitors. Early on in the contest, FC Cincinnati were progressing with some fluidity, but Toronto FC, they've turned the defensive intensity up a notch. They win it back in the midfield. Here is the counter developing. Knocked out a play across that byline, and it will be another corner for the home side. The second corner so far of this contest for Toronto FC 2. In swinging ball toward the near post, the heads go up. Short clearance away. Out wide, it's Bonneau. Bonneau, second ball, lofts it in. Not clear again by FC Cincinnati 2. Toronto really tightening the screws right now. Campbell Dennis, early ball ahead, second ball headed, and the flag will come up. Morozic wasting no time getting play restarted. And yet the result the same for FC Cincinnati 2. It'll be thumped out, and the Garys will have the throw in over on this near side. This portion of the match is brought to you by Chevrolet, proud sponsor and fan of Toronto FC 2. Felix Sampson plays it ahead. He'll get it right back. Sampson, the last couple of weeks for Felix Sampson, came on for the first time for the FC Cincinnati first team in their friendly last week against Burnley FC from England. Played 30 minutes after coming on as a substitute in that contest. Former CF Montreal homegrown signing. Sent over to FC Cincinnati at the beginning of this year on the loan from the MLS side. Sammy Castellanos, as Toronto FC will transition back into their in-possession shape. Castellanos, he said he's been proud of the way that Felix Sampson has tackled his responsibility this year. When you sign a homegrown deal and then get immediately transferred on the loan, it can be a little confusing for young players, in Castellanos' words. Here's Dawson now on the ball through. He'll peel this back. It's Bonneau. Bonneau cycles. Stojadinovic lines this up, has a go, and it'll go careening wide and out of play. Going back to Sampson, though, he followed that first team debut in the friendly up with getting called to the Canadian U20 side for the CONCACAF U20 championships later this month. A number of MLS Next Pro faces on that Canadian U20 team. Mentioned already Chuck Wu, Bostonberry, Fortier out of Toronto FC, Dylan Judelson from Orlando City B, part of that team, Felix Sampson. Now to play it goes. It'll be a throw in. Canadian U20 side. They'll be in Group C with Panama, Honduras, and Jamaica. They head down to Mexico for the U20 CONCACAF championships. Nolan holding up play. It bears fruit. Out wide. Kodri steps past one. Kodri slips it in. Toronto FC, they're painting the town red. 3 goals in this opening half from 3 different scores. Kodri joins the fun. Jamari Nolan holding up play just before this replay, and that really sets all of this up. The little dink out wide to his right. Kodri running in, steps inside on one defender, and rolls it right past Morozic. What a performance it has been so far in this first half for Gianni Cimini's side. They started it less than 15 minutes in the 11th minute. And 10 minutes after going up 2-0, they go up 3-0. A much, much different contest than the last time these teams squared off back in May of 2026 on the campus of NKU, where FC Cincinnati 2 plays their home fixtures. A scoreless opening 45. 5 goals, including Stefan Chirilla brace in the second half, helped FC Cincinnati 2 run away with that contest. Now Toronto FC returning the favor here 2 months later. The offense will undoubtedly, as we barrel in toward the halftime whistle, the offense for Toronto FC will undoubtedly get a lot of the love, but you have to give a tip of the cap to the way they've defended FC Cincinnati 2 right now. We get a whistle for a stoppage. Foul will be shown to Reed Fisher, and FC Cincinnati will have a free kick as Fisher pleads his case. But Toronto FC, they've been compact, but not too compact. They've read their defensive cues very well, and they've been able to maintain this mid-block shape that's allowed them to transition time and again quickly into the attack. And they have not missed their marks when getting out on the run. Reds have kept those lines tight, just confounding FC Cincinnati 2 right now, creating a lot of congestion. Oreo Reina drives this in on the restart, knotted away by Toronto FC. Chavez gives chase, keeps the pressure on here. Looking this one forward, it's Mosquera. Second ball lifted in, Fisher attacking the header. It's back over to Gasson, who steps up. They switch it over, Orejuela settles, Chirilla. 3 career goals against Toronto FC since joining this FC Cincinnati 2 side from the Philadelphia Union Academy. Out wide, but the flag will go up, and that will erase the opportunity for FC Cincinnati 2. Sammy Castellanos, he had wanted FC Cincinnati to come in to this contest, establish themselves in the first 10-15 minutes, really set that tone. And Toronto FC, they have been the side that have done that this evening. Up to 4 shots, 3 on target. They're doing it with just 40% possession right now. Kodry, they're bunching up. Toronto FC are. Still, though, Kodry able to find Nolan. Cycled around. Stoyadinovich over to Bonneau. Fisher. To Marko Stoyadinovich. Now stepping forward. Options out wide. They'll roll it in front. Tap toward goal. And a fine save from Morozic on the Nolan effort. Campbell Dennis, though, keeps this ball in. Bostonberry sliding, knocks it off Mosquera, and it'll stay here. First stop of the evening for Fabian Morozic, and it's a good one. Getting that left paw all the way out there to parry that ball aside. Nolan went low on him off the good feed back through. Right now, FC Cincinnati, they're just allowing Toronto FC to get in behind that final line of defense with ease. Fans will roar to life on this set piece for Toronto FC. Third corner of the night for the Young Reds. Lofted into the crowd, punched away by Morozic. And that is where Bryce Bonneau, the former Huntsville man, will track it down. Bonneau clips this into the area, deflected away. Pressure still on, though, momentarily. And now hacked clear by FC Cincinnati 2, which is where Raquan Campbell-Dennis will track all the way back to grab it. Bostonberry grabbing a goal in the 26th minute, 4th career goal, now in his 2nd season with Toronto FC. Dawson over Bostonberry. Bostonberry wants to slide it back through to Dawson. Read well defensively by the Garys. Still without a shot on target so far in this contest. Mosquera trying to remedy that. Unable to do so. Here's Dawson on the half turn, tripped up from behind. This will be a whistle and more. Steven Jimenez will go into the book of Saman Sultani, our first yellow handed out. Keep an eye on the center of your screen right here. Jimenez sticking that foot out and just tripping up Lucas Dawson. Toronto FC, they scored off a free kick from a bit of a distance out against CT United. It was Dawson who had the service. Instead, elects to roll it out to his right to Bostonberry, plays it inside, but no! Morozic might have got a foot to that one. It's a great ball through here from Bostonberry, just on that half turn. Bonneau trying to pick out that far corner. And Morozic did catch it with just the bottom of his boot. Meaning Anthony Bostonberry with 2 minutes plus added time to go until halftime will have the fourth corner of the evening for Toronto. They go short on it. Stoyadinovich floats this one into the crowd. Fisher is there in front of Morozic, who goes down and draws a whistle. Biggest theme over these last few weeks in chatting with Gianni Cimini, his team creating explosive offensive moments, but in small fits and spurts, taking their foot off the gas pedal defensively, making a mistake here or there that ends up costing them goals. Right now, there is still time to go. If you're Gianni Cimini, you have to be pleased with the way your team has come out. 5 consecutive losses. You're walking into this fixture, just trying to right the ship. You're just 6 points out of a playoff spot with 10 weeks to go in MLS Next Pro. This is thumped in behind. Mosquera will run onto it now. Mosquera weaving in, out, back in, and dispossessed by Campbell Dennis. Toronto FC will have the throw. That ball did spill across the near touchline. Bostonberry steers away from pressure. Raekwon Campbell-Dennis. Got this one back inside to Bonneau. Fourth official indicating 3 minutes of added time as FC Cincinnati will have a goal kick. Sammy Castellanos these last few weeks, he's made a point in training with this FC Cincinnati 2 side, wanting to really work on their crosses into the final third. All areas that the staff view as non-negotiables, midfielders peeling out, creating overloads, 2v1s, and then ultimately getting into this final third here and trying to put dangerous balls in toward goal. But right now, they have yet to complete a cross so far in this first 45 minutes, something they have to remedy in the second half if they want to pull back into this contest. Switched out wide here, dancing around initially was Ademar Chavez. Went down after coughing the ball up, but it's kept in by FC Cincinnati 2. Jimenez dropping in out of that midfield. And now FC Cincinnati will go forward with it. Sampson up ahead to Chavez on the left. Chavez goes down and stays down. Meanwhile, transitioning back into the attack is Toronto. Numbers are just about even, at least for the moment. They'll clip this along, looking for Nolan. Deflected back to Campbell Dennis. And now Bonneau will clean things up. Dawson to Nolan. Tracking a bit are Toronto FC too, and now they'll go through the half space here. Campbell Dennis able to pull that ball in. Stojadinovic hands it off to Bonneau. Chisholm will cycle it back over to Bonneau. Now here's Bryce Bonneau once more, fighting through challenges applied by Ademar Chavez, and now we get a delayed whistle from Saman Sultani. And that whistle will bring us to the end of this opening 45 minutes of play here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The home team riding high. 3-0 is our score at the half. Coming up in our halftime show, we look back on the opening of the new home in North Texas. We peek ahead to MLS All-Star Week and our first half highlights, all when we return.
They say the world's game is played everywhere. This is how we play it here. every weekend across North America. From Vancouver's mountain rain to the shores of Florida, from the City of Angels to the Heartland, the world's brightest stars light up our fields.
Let's go.
And our fans bring the world to life. In every language, in every city. One game, one roar. Sold out nights under lights. New soccer citadels rising from coast to coast. Every chant, every goal, another brick in a growing relief. Now, the world's biggest stage comes to our home. And when they arrive, they'll find the game's heartbeat has been here all along.
Welcome back to Toronto. What an opening it was when North Texas SC opened up its new home. Let's revisit a fun night in Mansfield.
Today's finally here today. North Texas SC finally get to debut their brand new Texas Health Mansfield Stadium, and the day promises celebration and fireworks.
Opening game brought out some familiar faces to the new Texas Health Mansfield Stadium. NTX alumni Logan Farrington, Nolan Norris, Bernard Camungo, and Sam Sarver joined fans and team management to witness history.
What do you think about this new stadium so far?
I like it, it's good.
What was the one thing that you liked the most? The field, the seats, the people?
The field.
What was your impression once you walked in and you saw this beautiful new stadium?
When I was driving here, I drove here with a teammate. He was on the phone, and I tapped his thigh. I was like, dude, look at this stadium just from the outside. It looks incredible, you know? And I think they picked a good location. Obviously, the town we're in now doesn't have a sports team, so this is going to be their team to support. And I mean, it's probably the nicest second-team stadium in the league now, so that's pretty cool.
It's a huge day for the club. First ever game at this stadium. It's been long in the making. What's going through your mind?
It's just amazing seeing people in the stands. I think it really comes down to our club, our philosophy, and our ownership. And we want to be pioneers in this sport, and we're setting the bar higher. This is absolutely amazing, and this stadium is beautiful. I mean, look around. We're feeling a lot of pride. Like, you're seeing people right now walking around wearing North Texas gear. The players come out the locker room, and there's about 100 people there cheering and coming out for warm-ups. This is going to elevate their game, their preparation, and ultimately it's going to elevate their development. But this is going to be great for the community of Mansfield, and we're building something really special here.
The action on the pitch versus St. Louis City SC2 did not disappoint. An inspired Ricky Lewis opened the score in the 53rd minute of play, followed by a right-footed shot from Caleb Swan almost 20 minutes later to make the score 2-0. But Ricky Lewis would complete his first professional brace in stoppage time to secure a 3-0 win for North Texas SC in front of nearly 6,000 fans.
Talk to me about the game and what it feels to get this first win on this first ever game here at the stadium.
Honestly, it's just magical. The history behind it, our coach was telling us from the start that this was the most important 3 points in our lives. The club has been working really hard for us to give us this type of stadium, so I felt like the team was just really excited, and we want to make the show and show why we're coming up.
Once you came into the stadium for the first time, what was going through your mind?
Honestly, coming in, I was very nervous. A lot of people. I was just saying, just focus on what you can do, focus on what you can do, and whatever the opportunity erupts, finish it, and I felt like I did.
We've had three really great moments the last few years here, but okay. The first one, obviously, in 2024, winning MLS Next Pro at our seniors at Third Stadium. The second one was winning the MLS Next Pro individual last year, which was really important as well. And obviously, this moment, opening the stadium, opening this facility. Again, we talked a little bit about the belief from the club to do this for us. We talked about the purpose that the club has for you guys.
After a very exciting win for the home team, many fans stuck around to enjoy a spectacular fireworks show to celebrate the first ever game here at Texas Held Mansfield Stadium, the first of many to come. Signing off for MLS Next Pro, Moises Linares.
My name is Nathaniel James. You can call me Natty James. I'm a striker / winger from Trinidad and Tobago. I grew up in a place called La Joqueta, Rima. I grew up in the east side of the island. I started in a club nearby named FC Santa Rosa, and that's where I started playing football. My father, he saw that I had like my shoes were always dirty after school and stuff, and when I came home one day, I was like, I want to start to play football, and he was like, you want to start to play football? So my father was actually the one who started like carrying me out on the field, started passing, kicking, running, teaching me running techniques, everything. Then he got me into football because he used to play as well. After that, I just started playing, and I've been playing ever since. I was in Jablote, and I was playing youth football there. So at that time, I got selected for the under-15 national team. At the time, I was just so happy just to play and just to be around this environment, and I was just so excited for my future and what I could do, and yeah, it's been going good so far. I remember actually getting called to train when I was 15 as well. So I was training with the national team since I was like 15, and then I made my professional debut when I was 18, and then I made my competitive debut when I was 19. It was against Jamaica in Jamaica. I came on, played like 15 minutes. I was so nervous. It was good though, it was good. I came on, had some nice touches, played really well, played as a striker, and yeah, I enjoyed it. And my first competitive debut, I actually scored in it. So I came on for like 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes of the game, and scored the winning goal, and it was in a CONCACAF Nations League game. Yeah, it was one of the best feelings I've had in my life. When I was younger, I used to take a lot from different players. I think Messi and then Neymar were the two players that I would always look up to, like just watching football, because I was supported Barcelona when I was younger. And when I was like 15, like I started playing as like a cam, like a number 10. So I started watching like Dybala, and I wanted to be just like Dybala. I wanted to play like him, same left foot, same. I just wanted to move and play like him. So I think Dybala, I already did my research, see what it was all about, not Texas or whatever. And then I had a meeting with Coach Gall. John, he gave me a call. It was like everything I ever wanted. He just told me about everything. He was like talking about the new stadium, Mansfield, showing me how good it's gonna be, the environment, and I just fell in love immediately. And I knew that I wanted to be here. I wanted to like put my best foot forward for this opportunity, and I've been trying my best. I've been giving my best every day, so I just want to continue that. From the first day I came here, I was like, I just want to play well, play good. I want to score, I want to assist, I want to help the team in any way possible, So as of right now, my goal is just to help the team make playoffs and see how good we can do this season, see how far we can go. And I think we have a really good shot.
Ortiz is onto a cutting, denied by Cruz.
And an amazing save by Pedro Cruz. And Pedro Cruz with a third save.
A lot of pressure on the ball. Ending hit, what a save!
Saved by Cruz. Pierce cross in front, reflex save by Cruz.
Decent ball in, great save again. My goodness, worldly stop from Pedro Cruz.
Marker John for the equalizer, stop! And saved by Mackey. McGrath, stopped by Will Mackey.
Now sends one in. Oh, Mackey! How did he do it?
Sliding it across. Will Mackey standing on his head.
And he stopped.
It's another great save from Mackey.
Will Mackey says no.
Huntsville's Will Mackey and Houston's Pedro Cruz will be there. Will you? Goalie Wars, presented by Old Spice, returns as part of the All-Star Skills Challenge presented by AT&T on July 28th. And we have to mention that multiple MLS Next Pro alums will be on hand to take the field in the 2026 MLS All-Star Game presented by Chime on July 28th from Charlotte. You see some of them there on your screen now. Julian Hall, Matt Freese, Xavier Gozo. An exciting group of players taking the field for All-Star Weekend. As for our contest, we're at the intermission. Toronto FC leads it 3-0 over FC Cincinnati in this second meeting of the season. The action in match week 20 is officially underway, and as we take a look at our upcoming schedule, it'll really begin in earnest tomorrow. Crown Legacy welcomes Chicago Fire, and Crown Legacy right now, they are just 2 points off the pace of Eastern Conference leaders, FC Cincinnati 2, who played to a draw earlier in the week last night against New England Revolution. But Crown Legacy trying to right the ship a bit. Just one win in their last 5 matches. Meanwhile, Columbus Crew, they get Philadelphia Union, who's currently in 10th place. Crew, 0 losses in their last 5 matches. 3 wins and 2 draws. Exciting stuff for Columbus, who are trying to withstand the loss of Zach Zenge, one of the leading scorers in MLS Next Pro. He was shipped off to St. Louis on a transfer earlier in the season. That's your upcoming schedule around MLS Next Pro. Plenty of action on Saturday. There's a great slate of games on Sunday. The Eastern Conference, it's such a tight race right now. Columbus, 36 points in first. Crown Legacy, 34. Then you have Orlando City and Chattanooga each with 33. And Red Bull New York and New England with 32. Just 4 points separating 1 through 6. As for our match, as mentioned, we are at the half. And let's get you caught up to speed with our halftime highlights on how we got to this intermission break. Toronto FC really flexing their muscles in that opening 45 minutes of play against FC Cincinnati. The goals started early. They kept coming if you're the Young Reds, and it's what Gianni Cimini and company really would like to see from this Toronto FC side. They get goals in the 11th minute, the 26th minute, and the 36th minute. And most importantly, it's been the unselfishness right now of this Toronto FC side. Lucas Dawson got the scoring going less than 15 minutes in. Anthony Bossenberry in the 26th minute, then 10 minutes later, Elias Kodri in the 36th minute. That is where we stand through 45 minutes of play between Cincinnati and Toronto. A big 45 minutes set to come when we return to York Lions Stadium. Stick with us. On the other side of this break, the opening kick of half number 2. It's 3-0. Toronto FC leads.
Yeah. Boys hear cinnamon. Flow tastes sweet like cinnamon. Open up doors, I'm a gentleman. View top floor, I'm still sticking ahead of them. Running on fumes and adrenaline. Do what I do best. Can't rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions. Trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next. Just wanna know what's next. Man, I say it so loud. Don't worry about what next. Just know we got now. Oh yes. Man, I say it oh so proud. Don't worry about what next. Just know we got now.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
back in Ontario, moments away from the opening kick of half number 2 between Toronto FC and FC Cincinnati. Glad to have you along with us, both teams out of the halftime dressing room. Toronto FC goals in the 11th minute, the 26th minute, the 36th minute, and they lead at 3-0. Saman Sultani whistles, and we're back underway for the second half of football here north of the border as Toronto FC will drive that out of play. It's a tactic that we see so many teams across the world use, that thump out of play on the opening kick and shuffle numbers down. Helps get your defense set. And that defense is one that really shined time and again for Toronto FC in those opening 45 minutes of play. Held FC Cincinnati to no shots on target. Young Reds will have the throw. Trio of changes for FC Cincinnati and manager Semi Castellanos, their first changes of the evening at that halftime break. Nathan Gray coming on, one of those two. And Matias Vasquez, part of that triple change as well for FC Cincinnati. On the move now, the Garys are. Here's Charlie Holmes. Holmes working on this outside. His cross takes a deflection out of play, and it will stay here. FC Cincinnati starting the second half rather, like they started the first half. An early corner. This will be their third corner of the evening. They have not scored on either of the prior two. Theo Rigopoulos, the only change at the break for Gianni Cimini. Orejorena lifts this out, swinging ball. Knocked first away by Toronto FC, and Knuckley comes out and for good measure just punches it away. That ball clipped along, coated well defensively by Toronto FC. Here is FC Cincinnati and Yair Ramos. Ramos back out wide rather, over to Chirilla, who receives it back in. Sampson cycled down low, trying to find Charlie Holmes. Holmes goes tumbling down. Protests go unheard. Wanted that throw in, and instead, Toronto FC will take over possession. And now we get a whistle. A foul committed by FC Cincinnati, too. Here's Bossenberry now, off the give up from FC Cincinnati. Anthony Bossenberry, a goal in that opening half to help make it 2-0. Toronto FC would add a third before the halftime whistle. Here is Reed Fisher. Stojadinovic. Marko Stojadinovic coming over just a few weeks ago, returning to Toronto FC 2. Spent 2023 through 2025 in a Young Red shirt. Joined Atletico Ottawa in the Canadian Premier League. Made 5 appearances and then elected to return back to Toronto FC. 8 starts and as many appearances since rejoining the ranks of MLS Next Pro. Meanwhile, FC Cincinnati will come up with it once more. You see Sammy Castellanos there at the bottom of your screen. Castellanos, former Red Bull New York U23 head coach, was a Red Bull New York 2 assistant during their stint in USL Championship before joining MLS Next Pro in 2023. Also spent some time with Orlando City as an academy head coach as well. Player development is near and dear to Castellanos' heart. More on that in a moment. In behind, here's Holmes. Good first touch to corral that ball in. Now what's the service? And knocked out of play. Micah Chisholm able to get back and provide the coverage in behind. It'll be the second corner of the half now for FC Cincinnati. Orejorena has been the trigger man on all their corners so far. He'll have it again. Orejorena into the mixer, headed wide, and slipped, lost his footing. It was Chirilla. Chirilla, incensed, wanted that whistle, not going to get it. And as it rolls out the other side, Simon Sultani signals throw for Toronto. With the 3 personnel changes that FC Cincinnati 2 made at that half, coming into this final 45 minutes, we are starting to see the Garys get Charlie Holmes higher into the attack, 43 in white, blue, and orange. And that'll be crucial for them. Charlie Holmes has 1 goal contribution so far this season, but he's a guy that was able to help make some offense happen, some dangerous moments against Orlando City B. Here's Toronto FC. Official wags the finger and says no foul given. One back, though, high up the pitch. Counter quickly on, and even quicker. Canceled out by FC Cincinnati 2. We get a player down for the Young Reds, which will draw a stoppage from our center referee. Going back to Charlie Holmes, though, had an important goal line clearance against Orlando City B. Had a handful of dangerous passes into the final third as well. And he was a guy that Sammy Castellanos highlighted in our chat earlier in the week. Said he's a bit of a utility player. They've asked him to play as a forward, an attacking mid, a wing back, an outside back as well. And Castellanos gave him a tip of the cap and said there aren't too many players I've seen at this level that can do it all and understand it all. Switching the point of the attack is Toronto FC. They have numbers in behind, and it's deflected out for a corner. Yes, the possession numbers don't favor Toronto FC in this contest, but field tilt has been so crucial. And the way Toronto throughout this match so far have been able to tilt the field very quickly in their favor. Not a prime example of it. Getting numbers forward quick, getting in behind, and earning themselves a corner. 6 shots, 5 on target so far for Toronto FC. Swung in, met first by FC Cincinnati 2. And now the Garys trying to break out. Desperate to just string some offense together here. We straddle that stripe on the outside. We get a delayed whistle. Simon Sultani will race over and award a free kick to FC Cincinnati 2. In that opening 45 minutes, the visitors from Ohio, they were not able to create the numerical advantages they were seeking. And speaking with Castellanos, one of the areas that he emphasized to his team this week was trying to draw Toronto FC in centrally, make them overly compact, and then perhaps peel a midfielder out, get in transition, create some overloads on the outside. But it's been a very disciplined approach right now for Toronto FC. Navigating around is Yair Ramos. Just 8 appearances a season ago. This is only his 6th appearance of the season. Had some injury woes last year, Ramos did. Mosquera now leading the charge. Got past one defender, could not get past Reed Fisher. This will draw a whistle, and Reed Fisher will be booked. He and Saman Sultani had a couple conversations in the opening 45. Sultani giving him the final warning in the late stages of that first half, and Fisher has been put into the book. Somewhat of an awkward angle here for FC Cincinnati on this ensuing free kick. They do have 2 free kick goals to their credit. It's an area that Toronto FC have been susceptible in being scored upon. Now some pushing and shoving inside that 18 as our center referee wants to have a quick chat with Noah Gasson. Steven Jimenez, the FC Cincinnati homegrown, shadowing over top of this ball. Jimenez trying to curl it in toward goal, right at Knuckley, who lays on it. That represents the first shot on target of the night for FC Cincinnati 2. Took almost 56 full minutes to find it, but they, at long last, have it. Bostonberry elects to go back to Kapoor. Kapoor, 11 appearances, all starts a season ago. Those were career-high numbers for him in a single season. He has now surpassed those marks with his 12th appearance and as many starts now, including tonight. Danger territory here for Toronto FC. The press bears fruit for FC Cincinnati. They transition into the attack. Jimenez able to find Holmes on the late arrival. Seattle Sounders Academy product is Charlie Holmes. Ramos on the turn. Next to him, Stefan Chirilla. A brace earlier this year in the 5-0 rout of Toronto FC back in May. Sampson hesitates just a bit, and Sampson will be shown a yellow, impeding the progress of Anthony Bostonberry. Anthony Bostonberry, just a young 16-year-old player, but mentioned in the first half some of the health struggles he dealt with earlier this year, getting back to full fitness. Gianni Cimini spoke so highly of Bostonberry, and you can just see as the weeks tick away and as this season carries on, things are just continuing to slow down for 56 in red, and he is growing week in and week out as a player into that complete player this organization looking for. Also getting a good run with the Canadian youth national team as well. 3 international caps for the U17s at the U17 World Cup last year. This portion of the match is brought to you by BMO, proud sponsor and fan of Toronto FC2, who have the throw in, and play is resumed. Still plenty of time to go, but should this result hold for Toronto FC, who drive this in behind, a short clearance from FC Cincinnati 2, it would move Toronto FC into a tie points-wise with Philadelphia Union 2, each with 26. If the playoffs were to start today, the cut line would be 28. That is NYC FC, who has 28 points right now. We get a whistle for a stoppage. There is a Toronto FC man down. That is Bryce Bonneau, captaining this Toronto FC side today. And now Simon Sultani will make the long run all the way over. He wants to have a conversation with Sammy Castellanos, and now the technical area handed a yellow card. Almost 15 minutes into this second half as we cross the hour mark elapsed. We've already seen 3 yellows doled out by our man in charge, including one to the bench of FC Cincinnati, and now play is back underway. Stojadinovic. 75 career MLS Next Pro appearances for Marko Stojadinovic, the native of Ontario. Into the path of Bostonberry. Bostonberry will switch. Rolled in behind, it's Dawson on it, wants the cutback in front. Knocked out of play by FC Cincinnati too, and it will be a corner. Gianni Cimini has said these last few weeks that Toronto FC, they have had no shortage of offensive creativity. One of their issues has been capitalizing on all of their chances, but exercising some frustration tonight, the Young Reds are, and when they get into the final third this evening, you are seeing some of that creativity on display. The rotations in and around the area have been crisp. They have created these little passing triangles so far. In swinging ball, first contact made by Felix Sampson. Pressure kept on, though, here by Toronto FC. Stojadinovic. Roll it back to Kapoor. Now backtracking is Toronto FC. Chisholm gave it up over to Knuckley. Some issues here for Reed Fisher, feeling the pressure from Mosquera. We have seen FC Cincinnati since the clock rolled over to the second 45. They've been more aggressive with their press in this second half. But Toronto FC dealing with it, at least for the moment. Kapoor, former Toronto FC Academy man. They go ahead to Nolan. They have just played Jamari Nolan all over this field tonight. He's been so crucial. Some of his decisions that he's made when helping Toronto FC break out. Young Reds, rather, will chase that loose ball down. Cycled over, here's Fisher. Retreating again is Toronto FC. Bostonberry trying to slip it through. It will go off of FC Cincinnati too, and it will be a throw for Toronto FC. Still pinned back right now is Toronto FC. They'll go direct with it now, looking for Kodri racing in behind. Cleaning things up was Fabian Morozic. That's an area that FC Cincinnati, they have had a tendency to give up some goals in those long, direct balls this season. You go back to the Orlando City match, one of their goals coming off of that Route 1 style of soccer. 4 times this year, FC Cincinnati have given up balls directly, or goals rather, directly off direct balls. Jumping that passing lane is FC Cincinnati too, but short-lived as Fisher will collect along the back. Bonneau turns, rolls this one ahead. Able to tightrope the touchline. Toronto FC keeping it in play. They'll slide it inside. Kodri turning. Still Kodri looking for Bossenberry, and it's clipped up along. Finding it is Stefan Chirilla now. Chirilla stutters. Cuts it back inside. This one from distance goes rolling wide of the far stick and out of play. Second half, it has been much improved for FC Cincinnati too. Held without a shot on target in the opening 45. They grabbed one earlier. Knuckley able to make the save off a free kick for FC Cincinnati too. Still though, nothing to show for that much improved form in this final 45 minutes for the visitors. Splitting two defenders is Orejarena. Gray looking for the give back to Leo Orejarena. And instead, Knuckley will track it down on the end line. Bakari and Knuckley signed in January of this season. He and Adisa de Rosario have split some time equally in net. Back-to-back appearances for Knuckley. Got the start against Connecticut United as well. More on that in a moment. Acres of space here for Toronto. Good early ball ahead. Off the woodwork. The rebound coughed up. Put toward goal. The offside flag will come up. Once again, transition being the best friend of Toronto FC2. We talk about best friends. The woodwork, Fabian Morozic's best friend right now. Didn't know that John bailed out by the crossbar, and it stays 3-0 as Toronto FC will make another change. Their second of the night. Kervon Kerr will come on in favor of Elias Kodri. Still 3 changes left for Gianni Cimini and company. For the switch again, FC Cincinnati 2, that time finding it. There was something in the first half, they just were not able to get going with any consistency. Those diagonal balls, as much as they wanted to come out and try to use those today to free up space, to over-rotate this Toronto FC defensive block, it just wasn't there in the opening 45 minutes. Chirilla turns, shakes off one. Wants a whistle, and Saman Sultani simply shrugs the shoulders. It's been a frustrating evening, not just for FC Cincinnati 2, but Stefan Chirilla, who's been their talisman this season. That's 29 touches, but only 1 shot so far, and it went off target. And of those 29 touches, only 1 of them in the penalty area. Toronto FC defensively, they learned their lesson from the last time they saw this FC Cincinnati 2 side when Chirilla burned them for 2 goals. They have limited FC Cincinnati's star this evening. Chisholm wins a whistle. Floated along, trying to Catch Kerr running onto it. Some miscommunication there, and finally Morozic just races off his line to sprawl on it. Kevon Kerr averaging just shy of 2 shots on target per 90 minutes. Bringing him off the bench, a big boost for the offense of Toronto FC. Not that they've needed it so far tonight. The advantage played here for the Young Reds. That's short-lived. And now FC Cincinnati transitioning ahead. Fisher will slide and cancel that out. Micah Chisholm will join the attack. Second season with Toronto FC too. Kapoor to Beno. Beno looking for that interchange along this near channel. Nolan's ball takes a deflection out, and it will be a Toronto FC throw. We've seen slight tactical changes for Toronto FC, more so just in terms of mentality. They have been content to play a little slower, take some time off this clock in the second half. Bostonberry out wide, advantage is played. Anthony Bostonberry still down, not back to his feet yet. Meanwhile, countering is FC Cincinnati with an early ball up ahead. That is where Stefan Chirilla will track it down. Chirilla working on Rugopoulos. To Gray, to Chirilla. Now Orejorena. Leo Orejorena back wide. Mosquera wants the angle for the cross. Now Orejorena off the give back from Mosquera. Sidesteps a second. Orejorena going to ground. Couldn't keep the possession on for FC Cincinnati 2. But you saw the amount of red shirts back in that defensive half. And that defensive block, especially as Toronto FC have slid into their low block when FC Cincinnati are in possession, there's just nowhere to go right now if you're the Garys. One of the things they've worked on these last few weeks, FC Cincinnati, trying to be more efficient in their crossing game. Get balls in dangerous spots. But you saw David Mosquera he wanted the angle to cross. There just was no angle. And it's a testament to the way that Toronto FC have come out throughout this contest and defended in this 4-4-2 shape. Now we get a whistle from Saman Sultani, and Toronto FC will have a free kick. And now a yellow card will come out of the pocket of our center referee. It was ushered in the vicinity of Toronto FC, rather of FC Cincinnati 2. This portion of the match is brought to you by MasterCard, proud sponsor and fan of Toronto FC 2. Play restarted off the Young Reds free kick, and we are back underway. Going back to Toronto FC 2, though, I've seen a little bit of a mentality shift in this second half. Less tactically, more mentality just in terms of their pace of play. Content to slow things down when necessary. Here's Dawson carving an opening. Knocked around. Here's Kerr. The flag is up, though, for offside. That is an area, though, for Toronto FC, the Gianni Cimini. You have to rewind all the way back to April to May earlier of this season. And one of the things that he said was that just understanding of where you're at in the game and what that situation calls for, not necessarily needing to gas it out time and again for the full 90 minutes. Yes, you still have to grind and play the full 90 minutes, but understanding you don't have to go full throttle at this moment. You can dial it back a bit and be more creative. This flashed across the face of goal. All the way through the other side, it goes for a Toronto FC throw. Speaking of Toronto FC, they will make a change. Cheyenne Pinnock will come on. Lucas Dawson will trot off the pitch, and he gets a well-deserved standing ovation from those in attendance here at York Lions Stadium. A goal that opened things up all the way back in the 11th minute. Johnny Cimini said earlier this week he's a guy that he never shies away. You see the quality he has in terms of the attacking side of the ball. Called him fearless. Helped spur on what was a dominant opening 45 minutes for Cimini's bunch. Now we are into the final 15 plus stoppage to go here of regulation. TFC 2 with the throw. They pick out Kerr, who tucks it inside in the vicinity of Jamari Nolan. Jimenez over. Here's Chirilla. Brother of Andre Chirilla, recently signed to a first-team contract with FC Cincinnati. One of the players not available today for this FC Cincinnati 2 side. Meanwhile, here's David Mascara at the end line. The service is in on the doorstep, tapped in. A lifeline for Charlie Holmes and FC Cincinnati 2. Slicing into the deficit, 3-1. This is more of what the Garys have been looking for. They just haven't had it so far. A collision in front of goal. Knuckley not covering up on that near side, and Charlie Holmes able to slot it into that empty side of the net. Charlie Holmes continuing to find ways to make an impact for FC Cincinnati 2. Sammy Castellanos this week, he said that it's a true testament to Holmes' soccer IQ that he's been able to adapt and overcome, being asked to play all over the pitch this season. Offside flag will come up. They were looking for Holmes again, and just across that restraining line a little early. Suddenly, though, FC Cincinnati 2 starting to wrestle control of this contest back from Toronto FC. It has been an improved second half compared to where the Garys left off in the opening 45 minutes of things, but it does speak to something that Sammy Castellanos has reiterated these last few weeks, and it's that FC Cincinnati 2, they get themselves in holes. They give up goals early, and they force themselves to chase the game, battle back. Now, yes, they've shown a lot of grit these last couple weeks, be it Red Bull New York, be it Orlando City last match prior to this, to claw and fight and scratch their way back into contest. But Castellanos' message to the team these last few weeks, the gist of it has just been start on the front foot, and we might find ourselves in more positions to walk away with 3 points. Rolled forward by FC Cincinnati 2. Out it goes for a throw. Here's Holmes, the recent goal scorer. First strike the second half had seen in the 77th minute. Switch out wide, not it down toward Orejorena. Pass back to him, handcuffing him a bit. As Cheyenne Pinnock tried to muscle him off the ball, could not. Driven ahead. in behind, a collision, it'll be a whistle, and FC Cincinnati will have a free kick in a dangerous area. A yellow card to boot against Toronto FC. Rigopoulos shown yellow for that foul right there. Both he and the FC Cincinnati man going up for the same ball. Wall will form in front as Yair Ramos will walk over, joined by Stefan Chirilla. It's well within striking distance here if you're FC Cincinnati too. And at this juncture of the contest, the scoreline being what it is, almost a gotta have it moment here for the visitors. Chirilla will step up. 5 goals this season, 3 in his career against Toronto FC 2. 20 in his MLS Next Pro career. It'll be Chirilla's alone to take. Ramos has backed off. Chirilla, the offering, goes over the bar and out. The idea was right for Stefan Chirilla, just couldn't put it on the target. Toronto FC able to breathe a sigh of relief. This portion of the match brought to you by Ritz, proud sponsor and fan of Toronto FC 2. Zakaria Knuckley will steer this one forward, met by the head of FC Cincinnati 2. They have held Toronto FC 2 without a shot on target in this second half to this juncture. And now back in the attack of the Garys, here is Mosquera. Mosquera trying to open things up, took on one too many defenders. Now Reed Fisher goes spilling into the ad board. It will be a throw quickly taken by FC Cincinnati 2. Arena funneled back over to Chirilla. Sampson. Here's Felix Sampson trying to go low in behind, knocked out. It will be a corner for FC Cincinnati 2. Orejorena will walk over, set to take this. Orejorena drives it in toward goal, tapped away. Pops back out though. Here's Ramos stepping into one and rifling it wide. Yes, they have conceded in this second half, but Toronto FC defensively, they have done an excellent job of box defending so far this evening. Overall in this match, FC Cincinnati, just 15 touches in the penalty area. And while they do have 8 shots, 5 of them have been taken outside of the 18. Meanwhile, it's Nolan transitioning into the attacking posture for Toronto. From distance, Pennick, it takes a deflection. It'll stay here as it spills out of play. Lawson Berry will take his time walking over to take this. One of 3 goal scorers in this match for Toronto FC, who after this, they'll hit the road again down to South Florida to take on Inter Miami down in Fort Lauderdale. Bossenberry swings this out. Ramos first to it, not clear yet. Recollected by TFC2. Funneled forward now to Bryce Bonneau. Bonneau flashes this in, glancing header, back stick, Fisher into the gloves of Fabian Morozic. Chirilla probing forward with this ball. Looking to play it into Charlie Holmes, and does. Quick switch. Back over to Holmes. Holmes, too heavy of a first touch, and that gives Knuckley the opportunity to just lay on top of that ball. Zakaria Knuckley has played well so far in this contest. Just to give up the goal here in this second half, but also made one important save off a set piece for FC Cincinnati. It has been Knuckley's ability to distribute so far, completing almost 30% of his long passes forward. Good ball slipped in behind. Here's Cheyenne Pinnock, can't track it down, and it will roll out for a goal clearance inside the final 5 minutes plus added time to go. After FC Cincinnati grabbed that goal, it looked like they were trending toward having momentum, trying to find a second one, and now they still search for it. Fumbling around with it, and Holmes tumbling down, and Knuckley will make the grab again. Charlie Holmes starting to get on the ball more. At his 50th touch of this contest overall. And now 6 of them have been inside the area. The majority of those have been in this second half. Clipped up ahead. Met by the head of Toronto FC2. Gonna drive it forward. They wanted Kervon Kerr. Turned back over, and here is Chirilla. Johnny Chimini and company prepping one more change. Dequan Barrow in the substitution area. This rolled through. Here's Kerr, wants to step past Felix Sampson. That gave Fabian Morozic just enough room to pick that loose ball up. Morozic acquired on the loan in March of this year from Liverpool. Spent time last year with Forest Green Rovers. Debuted in a friendly back in 2022 for Liverpool's first team against Crystal Palace. As we get another yellow for time wasting, that will go against Cheyenne Pinnock. Jamari Nolan will exit, and that will mean Dequan Barrow will come on, the 4th change of the night for Gianni Chimini and company, who are all smiles right now. FC Cincinnati will make a change of their own. Landon Bourne is on. Sammy Latchkar will exit in favor of the 16-year-old out of the FC Cincinnati Academy, Landon Bourne. 2nd appearance of the year, as Bourne will play it over to his defensive partner in Felix Sampson. Ramos drills this ball in behind. It's Mosquera, takes the touch. Mosquera toppled. No whistle. David Mosquera is still down. Zaman Sultani will bring this contest to a stoppage. Steps inside on one, and right there in the center of the frame, Reed Fisher. That is a daring challenge from Fisher. Was already on a yellow. Mosquera back to his feet there in the center of your screen in white, and Toronto FC with the throw in. This play is back underway. Had Fisher not been there, though, very easily could have been 3-2 with Mosquera grabbing another late goal. Good ball out wide. Jump starting the attack for the Young Reds. Trying to find the early ball, batted down. Getting word that there will be 4 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this contest. Stojadinovic, they go back out wide with it and forward. Pinnock. Here's Reed Fisher, former Pac-12 Freshman of the Year at San Diego State collegiately before being picked 23rd overall in 2025 by this organization. Knuckley drills that in behind. FC Cincinnati will just let it roll out of play, and they quickly toss it back in. The Garys will return home. In their next fixture, they get New England Revolution, who drew with Columbus Crew 2-2 this past Wednesday. Late goal for the Revs to send that one to penalties. Columbus ended up getting the extra point in the shootout. We get a whistle for a stoppage, and now a yellow, and now some more extracurriculars. Toronto FC taking real exception to that late collision. Simon Soltani trying to step in the middle of all of this. This could get out of hand in a hurry. Cooler heads prevailing as our center referee regaining control of all of this. You see Reed Fisher there continuing to have an animated conversation with David Mosquera. That time we lost here in stoppage time will be added back to the end of it, which means we will go over the 4 allotted. Play is back underway. Mosquera shown a yellow, and here is Kapoor. Nearly given away at the back by Toronto FC. They do still come up with it though. Clipped along, here's Karan Kerr in behind. And Sampson trying to collect that ball before it goes across the end line, ends up clearing it out of play over on the near touchline. Toronto FC, no Fletcher Bank like has been typical these last few weeks. No Jackson Gilman with the first team, played all 90 minutes last night against CF Montreal as we get a whistle for a stoppage. No Tristan Blythe today either. Blythe, 15 appearances, 6 starts coming into this fixture, and yet Toronto FC, they have found a way to this point to prevail against FC Cincinnati. They've withstood a bit of a burst here in this second half. Charlie Holmes, a catalyst for the offense tonight for FC Cincinnati in these last 15 minutes. And the only goal so far for the Garys. Ramos over the top, no one there except Zakaria Knuckley as it rolls into his mitts. We did lose some time on the yellow card stoppage about 2 minutes ago. So Simon Soltani content to let this play out past the 4. Given. Goes out of play. It will be a throw. Toronto FC, they had not gone winless across 5 matches since 2022, and the losing streak has officially been halted by the Young Reds. Full time in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. A 3-goal outburst in the opening 45, enough to see Toronto through the other side, and they grab all 3 points against FC Cincinnati. Only one man, though, was worthy of man of the match honors. And your man of the match tonight, presented by Adidas, the youngster who got it goal in the 11th minute, Lucas Dawson, opening his professional scoring account in 2026. Putting Toronto FC up 1-0 and giving them a lead they would never relinquish. Lucas Dawson is your man of the match, and Toronto FC are riding high, hoping this will kick off an ascent up the Eastern Conference table. They're victorious for the 7th time in 2026. For the rest of our broadcast team, I'm Jake Griffith, saying so long from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Once again, our final score, Toronto FC 1, FC Cincinnati 1. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com and OneFootball. Good night from Toronto.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.